Fear not, citizens, for we are here at QUIRKLESS Gaming, where we don't have quirks of our own, but that doesn't stop us from going plus ultra. My name is Joel Zelli.
And I'm Harold Guaca.
And on today's episode, we are switching gears from our usual gameplay walkthrough video, and instead we are going to do our first ever game review for the long-awaited remake of Resident Evil 3.
Resident Evil 3, baby.
And on that note, let's get started.
Here at QUIRKLESS Gaming, we have decided to break our reviews down into 4 different categories. Those categories are story, difficulty, gameplay, and graphics. Each of those categories can receive a score between 0 to 2 points, meaning a game could potentially receive a perfect score of 8 points.
Story. Resident Evil 3 is a survival horror game developed by Capcom, which is a remake of the 1999 Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, which follows Jill Valentine and Carlos Oliveira as they attempt to survive a zombie apocalypse in Raccoon City while being hunted by the bioweapon zombie named Nemesis. Overall, we were very pleased with the story behind the game. We have tons of experience playing zombie games together, like Left 4 Dead, Dead Island, World War Z, but Resident Evil offered a new twist we've never experienced before. Harold has never played any games in the series, and the only experience I have is from the 2002 version of Resident Evil on the GameCube, where, coincidentally, you play as Jill Valentine, but due to the weird camera angles and controls, that game did not last long in my library. The story's powerful narrative had us on the edge of our seats from start to finish, and was filled with many "what the hell is that" moments. Resident Evil was a nice change of pace because it wasn't filled with many dull spots or filler. The game does a good job of not feeling repetitive, and each chapter offered a new adventure. Although the characters don't have difference in abilities or playstyle, it was a nice change getting to see the story told from different perspectives. Although the story was something we greatly enjoyed, we did notice that it did go by very fast and left us with a feeling of wanting more. To complete the game, it takes only on average about 5 to 8 hours to finish. But if you're looking to 100% full cowling the game, that'll take you a bit longer to complete, since you'll be tasked with solving puzzles to unlock secret items. Although the price point is pretty standard with most newer games, with the current cost we were hoping there would be a bit more.
Difficulty. As previously stated, I am someone who has never played a Resident Evil game, which came at me with extreme difficulty. We decided to start the game on standard mode. After the initial introduction, you start the game with a pistol and a knife. I went through the first few minutes dying left and right and finding myself on a constant hunt for ammunition. I felt the game was extremely frustrating and not playable at all for someone with my skill level, or maybe difficult for any new player in the series. Later, we decided to switch up the difficulty from standard to assisted. This little change completely altered the game and made it much more enjoyable. Not only do you start off with a useful pistol and a knife, but now you also get an assault rifle at the beginning of the game and more ammo. While playing on assisted mode, you have the option to turn on aim assist. Before turning this on, we struggled with landing our shots. But as soon as you make the switch, you're able to line up your shots better to put those zombies down. This small switch made the game feel a bit easier and not as frustrating. Another aspect that affected the difficulty of the game was from resources. This ranged anywhere from not having enough resources or wondering what resources to carry. We truly understand that this adds more suspense to the game and makes it more enjoyable, but what seems like a simple choice could mean life or death in this game.
Gameplay. Resident Evil 3 offered a very unique playstyle, something we are not used to playing. The game differs from others you've seen on the channel, like Jump Force and One Punch Man, which are more button mash fighting games, and Star Wars, which has more of a Dark Souls feel behind it. But it was something we became very comfortable with and enjoyed. Overall, the controls are very easy to get the hang of and are pretty standard with most shooting games, which was nice. It didn't feel at any point we were having to make a major switch in the style of playing to get used to it. We did enjoy the shortcut features on the D-pad, which allowed for faster access to a multitude of weapons, and the quick access to the menu for resources and weapon swaps. The game itself runs very smoothly while playing. We never felt like the game was struggling to keep up. There wasn't any lagging or freezes. There wasn't any crazy amount of loading screens. We also didn't notice any major bugs or glitches in the game that needed patching, which is very surprising for new games. A few things we did notice until we switched the game difficulty to assisted and turned aim assist on is it was very hard to aim our weapons and connect our shots. The aim sensitivity felt like it was insanely high and wasn't easy to control. After the switch though, it felt like the game was much more easier to control and we began to enjoy it even more. It was also enjoyable getting to play with an extra assault rifle, since the knife you start out with is just complete trash.
Complete trash.
Another minor detail that was frustrating was the running ability of characters. We understand this is something that is probably familiar with Resident Evil games and helps add to the suspense of that game. But to us, we are more used to a faster style games and the ability to sprint around. Instead, your character takes a brisk jog to get around a map and away from enemies. But that is just a personal preference for the game and isn't a make it or break it. Our mindset is just that if something is chasing you to smash you to death or eat your brains, you just may want to pick up the pace a little. One final topic I'd like to mention is how the map works. The game at the beginning doesn't do the best job of describing where to go and what to look for. When viewing the map, red locations show places you've been, but have not collected all the items from. Blue locations show places you have been and have collected all the items from. Spoiler alert. In the game, there's a part where you need to put out a fire to advance in the story. The map doesn't show you where you need to go to locate the item to put it out. We thought we needed a tool or something to open up the fire hydrant, so we began looking for a wrench. Instead, you actually need a fire hose, which still seems weird because you have to open the hydrant with a tool, but oh well.
Graphics. Who are we kidding? They're amazing. What a huge upgrade 21 years can really make. The way Capcom put the time and effort into every little detail, from the cuts on the character's body to details on the firearms. Not only are they doing such a good job on graphics, but coming in with suspenseful music and slimy sound effects really put all the pieces together to make the experience extremely entertaining. Now don't get me started on these cutscenes. The cutscenes are absolutely beautiful. Such a great job with skin complexion and the character's eyes. They really draw you in for the full horror experience. Now, some minor flaws. Even though the graphics are stunning, not everything is perfect. The animation of the character's hair is probably the hardest to design, and it does seem like Capcom did the best they could. Me personally, my personal opinion of the hair is it's always looking wet, as if they're always underwater. It sounds funny, but it was honestly distracting, almost something to laugh at while playing. Another thing that slightly caught my eye was when we were looking at zombies from afar. It's almost as if the game couldn't handle the intense graphics. The zombies would glitch out and look like they were from an old arcade game. But enough with the small details. I can't stress this enough, but the graphics are absolutely incredible.
With everything taken into consideration and being unbiased, we felt these scores fit each category appropriately. The overall story was very fun and enjoyable to play. The countless hours that kept us captivated and glued to our seats, screens, and the controller is what helped give it a higher score. We felt it did lose some points since the game wasn't very long and went by in the blink of an eye. With that being said, we felt the score was appropriate to give it a 1.3 out of 2.
Speaking in perspective as someone who's never played a Resident Evil game before, the game does a really good job on keeping you at the edge of your seats. It gives you multiple options from assisted, standard, and hardcore, but once you get really good, you can even unlock Nightmare or Inferno. Because of that diversity in difficulty and replay value, we felt a 2 out of 2 was very well deserving.
The game felt flawless. The character control wasn't hindered by any in-game issues, and everything just flowed so well. Besides the difficulty with aiming at the beginning, it never felt like we weren't in control of the game. Due to some personal preferences and things we'd like to change, we did deduct a few points. The character's lack of running ability, and there being no clear directions for how to use the map is what cost some points on our end. With that being said, we felt gameplay deserved a 1.5 out of 2.
Now, for a remake of the game that, like I said, came out 21 years ago, Capcom did a really good job. Now, nothing's perfect. Even with Carlos's moppy hair, we felt that a 1.9 out of 2 was spot on.
With all the points being calculated, that brings Resident Evil 3 to a total score of 6.7 out of 8, giving this game an A-class ranking.
Thank you all so much for tuning into another episode. If you are new to the channel, be sure to United States of smash that subscribe button and hit that bell icon to be notified each time we post a new video. Let us know in the comments below if you felt like we did a good job and you would like to see more review videos. With that being said, we'll be signing off. I'm Harold Guaca.
And I'm Joel Zelli.
And remember, go beyond
plus ultra.